Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for our roundtable meeting on Summer Camp 2023. I know we're back into the cold temperatures again, so I don't know. I want to go back to the 80s. That was much better. It made me thinking about camp all the time. So we're happy that you're all with us here tonight, and we're going to talk about camp, talk about what we've got planned for this summer, talk about the upcoming registration and such. This video or this session is being recorded. We will post the video to our YouTube page later on, so that will be, and we'll put it out on social media, so it'll be available if any leaders were unable to attend or parents or anybody want the information, they'll be able to get that from us. So if you have questions as we're going through, feel free to throw stuff in the chat box. You know, a couple of years of teaching through Zoom has got me pretty good ninja skills about being able to monitor the chat box and talk at the same time. So we can keep that going and respond to some questions. All right, so why don't we get rolling here? We are joined this evening. We do have several of our key staff on board here with us tonight. My name is Brian Murray. I'm the camp director at RSR. And we have our program director, Josh, who's joining us halfway across the country on his way back from a pretty amazing trip. So he's with us here tonight as long as the technology holds out for him. We've got our commissioner, Quinn Chickalella, is with us here this evening as well. And I saw our cook, Sean Dibble, is here too. And one member of our team who I don't believe is on tonight, but many of you know, is our ranger, Joel Uline, property manager. We are bringing back once again an experienced staff. We've got lots of great directors returning, and we're really excited about the team that we've got coming together this summer. That said, as is often the case this time of year, we do still have some staff needs. So I wanted to put out a plug for some positions that we're looking to fill. We are looking for a health officer, somebody who is 18 plus and has an EMT certification or above. That could be an RN, doctor, or anything like that. Handicrafts director, handicrafts instructor, ecology instructor, trail to first class instructor, and food service help. So these are some positions that we're looking to still looking to fill to round out our team. It's just kind of the nature of the beast with the camping industry these days, and both in scouting and out of scouting, that staffing's presented a little bit more of a challenge the last few years. And so we're just looking to round out the great team that we've already got in place here. Some things that we're talking about in terms of making it attractive, besides the fact that it's like the most fun job you'll ever have, is that we appreciate the fact that the executive board of the council this year committed to some additional resources for salaries to try to attract good folks. Of course, room and board is included with the fun, outstanding food that Sean prepares for us. It's a great, fun team environment. And we've got a website there. So anybody that's watching this film, or if you know of anybody that might be interested in any of these positions, we'd ask you to direct them to our website there, where they can submit an online application, and we'll be happy to reach out to them and schedule an interview. That can also be used for any CITs. I didn't put it on the list, but we do still have some room for some counselors in training. So if you have any scouts that are 15 years old and are interested in coming out to be a CIT at camp this summer, have them use the same application. And basically the CIT program is a fantastic leadership experience. It is one where we do need the CITs to be with us for our staff week training, which is the week of June 25th. And then typically we have them the next 2 weeks after that, which is weeks 1 and 2 of camp. If they have conflicts during those first 2 weeks, we do have some flexibility to work around that a little bit. But we do need them there during the staff week training, because that's where most of the real kind of classroom instruction and formal training takes place for the staff. But CIT is an outstanding program. It's a great way to learn the skills, leadership and program development skills, teaching skills, to be an effective staff member. CITs, when their troops are in camp, are welcome to stay with their troops in their troops campsite, so you don't lose them. We know that those CITs are usually your SPLs, your patrol leaders, your other senior leadership, and so we know you don't want to lose them. So they're welcome to stay with you in the site as well. Great thing about the CIT program is that it's basically a half and half thing. So that half the day the CIT spends working in the program areas, the other half of the day they are actually expected to go out and work on personal advancement. So they can go earn merit badges, they can do COPE, BSA lifeguard, things like that, to continue to have a great time at camp. So it's a nice kind of great experience for a senior camper, and we'd encourage you to mention that to your scouts. So if anybody's any questions, feel free to let us know, but the application is the same for both the staff and the CIT at that website. I forgot I had a slide for this. So I'm going to just click through all these things because this is all the stuff that I just talked about. And then on to the next one. Okay, so our registration deadline is coming up very soon. In just a week, we have the balance of our camper payments are due. So the first deposits were due earlier in the spring. The balance is due on May 1st. And after May 1st, there's a $50 late penalty that kicks in. So we want to make sure that that goes in by the 1st. It is automated with the computer. So basically at midnight on the 1st, going into the 2nd, that's when it will start charging the $50 fee on any scouts whose balances are not complete. That does not cover Weeblo crossovers or new scouts that, for example, just joined your troop. I just heard from a unit the other day. It's like, hey, we've got a scout that literally just joined our troop. They've got time as well. Put them in with the crossovers. We understand that they're still coming on board with you and takes a little bit more time. So those groups have until June 15th to submit their registrations. There's a separate category in the registration. You can put them in for that, and that'll give you the different timeline. So you have until June 15th to submit the payments without the late fee. There is a sibling discount as well that we offer, which is a $40 discount on the second sibling and every sibling thereafter in the larger families. We do ask that you, if you have any siblings in the unit, if you haven't reached out already, to please send me an email at some point in the next couple of days before the balances are due. It is way easier to put the discount in now before the balance has been paid than it is after the scout is fully paid for, and then we have to start dealing with like refunds and sending money back and stuff like that. So folks have been doing a great job with this. The emails that I've sent out seems to have gotten through to folks, and I've been getting a whole bunch of emails on siblings over the last week or two. So, but if there's any that are left that still need to communicate that with me, please let us know. Just send an email to me and we'll be happy to apply that discount. All of the registrations are submitted through that Black Pug system that you use to register for camp. And I do want to point out that there's a link right on our website. You can see on the right hand of the screen there, that's a screen grab of our website right now. You see the link where it says register for Scouts BSA summer camp. That's for new registrations only. So if you had a provisional scout that wanted to sign up, or a new troop was signing up, click that link. That takes you to sign up for that. The rest of you, when you're adding money into your already existing registration, you want to do that third line there where it says sign in here to access your Black Pug summer camp accounts. If you go through the council calendar, you end up creating a whole new registration for the troop rather than adding to your existing one. We can ultimately merge that stuff together, but you're going to get in there and you're going to get really confused because you're wondering where's the money that you already deposited and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure that folks go in where it says update the existing registration. There's a link for this off the council website as well, but if you just go to the camp website, it's right there. It makes it nice and easy for you. So go into your troop account. That's where you can submit the additional payments for the balances. That's also the same place we're going to do online merit badge registration. When putting in registrations for your campers, if you haven't done so already, you're going to be asked to update each scout on the roster with their name, their gender, their BSA membership number, parent phone number and email, and their birth date. This is all information that we need, so that some of it supports the merit badge registration. Some of it supports the recording of merit badges. That's why we need the BSA membership number, because it allows us to then export the information into Scout Book or other platforms where you're recording the advancement information. But those are the fields that you'll have when you're entering information about the scouts and updating their stuff. Okay. Our adult requirements. I want to just make sure we take a moment to go over this with each of you. There are standards that are in place for adults that are coming to camp. If you were at the powwow or the University of Scouting, excuse me, back a couple months ago, you heard me talk about some changes that are happening with adult requirements for camping. Those do not take effect until September 1st. So that is not going to affect our summer camp this year. It will next year, and it will affect the requirements for activities that you do starting September 1st of this year. But for this year, our policies are the same as they were last year. So what that means is that every adult 18 and over that is coming to camp must first hold a current valid BSA youth protection certificate and has to be cleared through the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services background check. And fun, we just got a word about a week ago that there's another background check that you will also be run through, which is the national registry. And so that doesn't really change anything on your end, but it's just we're going to send people's information through two different registries here. But any adults that are in camp for more than 72 hours, in addition to the above requirements, we also need you to be registered with the troop. Okay, so having a registration with BSA completed before coming to camp so that you're in that position. So that means completing the BSA adult application, submitting it, getting the background check cleared through BSA, all that. That's if you're going to be in camp for more than 72 hours. Those 72 hours are not, it doesn't necessarily have to be consecutive. It's not like you stay for 36 hours, you go out, grab a cup of coffee and come back and do another 36 hours plus and you reset the clock. It's 72 hours during the program of camp. Once you hit that magic number, you need to be registered with the troop. It is an expectation that you should be registered with the troop that you are attending camp with, but multiple registrations are perfectly acceptable. So you know, if you're going with another unit or you're primarily registered as a merit badge counselor or something like that, you can submit the multiple and do that. This does not apply to short-term guests. So somebody coming for parents' night, campfire, something like that, this doesn't apply to them. This would basically apply to anyone who is accompanying the troop, excuse me, as part of their adult leadership, whether it be for an overnight or, frankly, if you've got somebody that's coming in and is going to spend the day because somebody's taking the day shift while somebody else goes off to work, they should be meeting these requirements as well, that they have their youth protection and have submitted their name for the background check. The way we actually, let me touch on this first, and then I'll talk about the other piece. So something that we're working with new this year, hoping that this will work out well for us, is that you may have noticed that we set registration up to allow for partial week registration for adult leaders. In the past, it would only take the full week leader. And now we've got it set up. So like, if you know that a particular adult is coming from Sunday to Wednesday, you can sign them up for Sunday to Wednesday. If you've got somebody that's coming Tuesday to Thursday, same deal. And it'll charge them accordingly. This is something I understand that particularly for those partial adult leaders, you may not have a lot of information on that yet. They may not be sure which nights they're coming and that sort of thing. So this can be taken care of later on, but it'll be hopefully a helpful tool for managing that sort of thing. So see how that works out for us this year. Please remember that every unit receives one free adult for every 8 youth that you bring to camp. And that's with a minimum of 2 free adults. So basically what that means is your first 16 kids, you get 2 free adults. And for every time you get into another group of 8 after that, that's another free adult on the registration. Additional adults, if you've got some extra folks that are coming in for the week, they would be $125 for the full week. If they're going to do a partial, then it is a prorated portion of that fee. So if they're only doing a couple of days, it's a prorated portion of that, not the full 125. Okay. This goes back to the registration of what we need on information for adult leaders. Because of the fact that all adults need to be background checked, we've set up a Google form where we really need everybody to submit your information to us by June 1st. And we're still using the Google form because we still have some parents that might come in that are not registered for that partial week or full week. This is also useful for you all because I really think this is a great idea for units. This costs you nothing to do a background check for your parents. So if you've got folks that are around your troop a lot, that are helping out with events, that are going on outings and things like that, activities with your folks, get their information, run them through this background check. Doesn't cost you a penny, doesn't cost me anything, just adds them to a spreadsheet and we send them through. And it's especially before we get the change in the adult rules coming in September, this is a really nice way to check that. But in terms of camp, we need you to include the folks that are registered. So yes, the folks that are in the Black Pug system, we ask you still to register them here in this Google Doc as well, the Google form. But this is also if you've got those parents of those first-year campers that they're not scheduled to come to camp, but there's a good chance that that first-year camper might be struggling a little bit one night, and mom or dad might say, you know what, I'm going to come up after work and I'm going to stay overnight. We can't let them stay if they have not been cleared ahead of time. And that's something that we do in bulk. I send like 400 names to the state prior to camp and get everybody cleared. After that, it becomes a more cumbersome process of calling up the office and giving, running through spellings of names and dates of birth and all this kind of stuff. So we really ask that you clear everybody before camp. It's a much, much easier process at that point. And also when people show up, say on a Sunday or in the evening, we can't clear them because the state office is not open to take our phone call. So please, anybody that you think might possibly decide at the last minute that they might pop up to camp, have them run through this background check process for us. So please submit that information by June 1st. What we're asking for is the first and last name, the date of birth, the YPT, the BSA registration status, and their zip code. This is the information that we use to run that background check. Let me pause there. Are there any questions on the adult registration piece or the background check or any of that at this time? Where do we submit those names? There's the link is on our website. It's the link was in the program planning guide that was sent out, and I will make sure that it's sent out to everybody as well. So we'll get that information emailed out to everyone. Other questions? Okay.
Brian, on the payment, as we figure out the adults, I'm doing a better job of it this year, getting a list of adults. But okay, if I've got them in the system by June 1, the Black Pug or you will do the calculation for their pro rata share. If I put the number of nights in,
it'll do it automatically. Yeah. If you enter somebody for, say, Sunday to Wednesday, it's going to calculate, I forget what the per diem cost is, but it's 125 basically divided out, and it'll calculate it based on the days that they're coming in, and that's what it'll charge you when you register them. So that'll be overall.
Is one night okay if I got a parent coming one night? I just put, all right.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Now remember that even that one night, we need the background check information from them. And,
right. Yeah. That was full well. That was the mistake I made last year. I put a couple of us in Black Pug thinking it went right over to the Google. They didn't merge, so I will rectify that this year. But that was my only question about the payment. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, it is a little bit redundant still, and that may go away next year because of the changes. Because everybody that's coming to camp next year, even if it is that one night, is going to have to be registered with BSA.
On the charter, right.
So maybe we may approach this a little bit differently for next year, but we're still going to handle it this way for this year. And I think especially because of what I talked about how this is kind of advantageous. I know there are some units that I think just add extra adults and parents and stuff as a cheap way to do a background check. Honestly, it's a good service for you guys to be able to run folks through this. James, reach out to me and we can check and see to answer your question there about what's previously been done by your prior Scoutmaster. In terms of this YPT thing, last time I checked, I think there were only like 8 names in this, so there weren't that many people that had done this just yet. Anybody that is staying overnight, any adult that is staying overnight has to have youth protection and has to have the background check. Okay, that's the bare minimum that we need to do for those folks. If it's more than 72 hours, then we also add the requirement of BSA leader registration. Okay, so but if it's less than 72 hours, it's YPT plus the background check. More than 72 hours, both of those plus the BSA registration. Okay. All right, medical forms information. So everybody does need the annual BSA health and medical record, including the doctor's signature. This is required for all campers. This is also required for any adults that are staying in camp for 72 hours or more. If an adult is staying in for less than 72 hours, we're not going to ask for the full medical form with the Part C with the doctor's physical and the signature. However, even if they're only staying for, say, one night, we are going to still ask for them to submit a medical form that has the Part A and B. And that's stuff that the individual can fill out. It doesn't require a medical practitioner to do that. But that gives us the contact information, the medical history, those kinds of things, so that, God forbid, something happens to that individual while they're at camp, we can go to the form, we can get that information, we can contact their emergency contacts and the like, and go from there. So more than 72 hours, we do need the doctor's physical, the doctor's signature on the physical. Less than 72 hours for adults, we do not. Youth, regardless, we need it. The other piece of that is that I should mention is that if you want to get a buddy tag, if you want to go on the waterfront as an adult, even if you're in camp for an hour, if you want a buddy tag, we got to have the Part C with the doctor's signature. Okay, so that is one other wrinkle. So waterfront and COPE would be the two areas that if an adult is going to participate in either of those two programs, Part C, regardless of the length of their stay. Okay, we're going to need the doctor's physical part for that. We'll attempt to make this possible for you guys. Some have started to send us their forms ahead of time for kind of a quick scan and review to make sure that at least we've got all the signatures in place, things like that. This is something that you can do, and we've actually posted, I think I've got a video up on the camp website that kind of runs through what to look for on a medical form, but I'll double check that. But this is something you can look for as well. Make sure that the immunization dates are in place, and it doesn't just say like up to date, but actually lists the immunization dates. Make sure that the doctor's signature is there. Make sure that the parent has signed it. Those are the three things that tend to pop up most in terms of medical forms that create a little bit of chaos on Sunday afternoons when folks are checking in. And they're also the kinds of things that are very difficult usually to get remedied quickly when the parent is not with the scout or the doctor's office is closed on a Sunday. So looking ahead at those signatures for the parent, the doctor, and the immunization dates would be the key things to double check. And if you do that, you should be in pretty good shape as long as everything else is filled out in the form there. If you're going to send them up ahead of time, they can be dropped off at camp, or you can mail them. I mean, you're then trusting the mail delivery service to make sure it gets to us and make sure it gets to us in a timely manner. If you're going to use mail, make sure that it gets sent well before your expected arrival, so that it's not still in transit when you show up on Sunday and nobody gets to do any medical checks and nobody gets to do any swim checks or anything like that. But if you can drop them off, great. Obviously, that's easier for some units to do than others, but that's another option there as well. We did post up our program schedules, so we've got that information up there, and you can see that. We do have the list of recommended ages for folks on this as well. Not a hard and fast rule in most cases. There are in a couple of cases, but we do put a lot of thought into these recommendations. These recommendations are based on the staff's experience of having worked with scouts before. Some of the merit badges that unit leaders oftentimes think are great first-year merit badges, our staff will tell you are not great first-year merit badges. One that really comes to mind is swimming. A lot of folks are like, first-year camper, let's get them into swimming. It's a basic core thing. It's an Eagle badge. We can get them doing the aquatics program. If they're a strong, solid swimmer, sure, that can work out. There's a lot of first-year campers who struggle with swimming just because of the nature of they don't like swimming in a lake, or they have endurance issues or stroke issues or whatever the case may be. So that might be something to really kind of think about before signing scouts up for that one. You'll notice that we've got that listed as a second-year merit badge. But take a look at those recommendations. Not all scouts are created equal, obviously. Some, are going to be more advanced in some areas than others, but we do put a lot of thought into these recommendations and would ask that you consider those as well. Some of our program opportunities, I'm going to take over and talk about the program opportunities because Josh is in a car where his cell service is a little bit spotty, but he'll jump in if he's got anything he wants to add for us here. We do have over 50 merit badges and programs that we offer at camp. This includes COPE, which is fantastic. This is our high ropes course program, as well as the climbing tower for climbing merit badge. BSA lifeguard's a fantastic program, gets scouts or adults, frankly. Adults can take BSA lifeguard as well, to be certified in, lifeguarding. It's folks can get jobs at pools or hotel pools or their favorite scout camp with that certification. The Twin Rivers Council Navigator Award is also something that we put together a few years ago with our friends from Wakpamani. This is for scouts that have done lots of different aquatics merit badges and activities. There's a special award that we offer as a council for scouts who have really racked up a lot of those activities. Trail to First Class, fantastic program for our first year campers. It's a half-day program. The scouts do get to work on a merit badge within that program as well. It's a mammal study merit badge, kind of a nice introductory badge for them. But they're working on a lot of those skills from scout through first class, particularly more outdoor based ones. They're not going to hit every skill, every requirement in those ranks, but they're going to get a good sampling of those ranks and really help to move the scouts along. We know through lots of research that BSA has done that scouts that advance through first class in their first year in scouting tend to be much more likely to stay in scouting. They get that kind of nice runway into a successful program, and we're going to help them with that. One thing that we would mention, though, is that the scouts that do Trail to First Class, it's a half day for 5 days program where they're doing all sorts of stuff from tenderfoot, second class, first class rank. If you've got a scout that just needs a couple of things, they don't need to sign up for Trail to First Class. But if there's a couple of things that we offer that would help them to advance, but they're, let's say real close to completing their first class, you can contact the Trail to First Class director, and they'll work with you on setting up a time where the staff might come to your campsite, or the scout can come down during a particular time to knock off those little requirements without having to commit to the full week program. So keep that in mind. They usually refer to that as TTFC takeout. They'll come visit your site and help advance them through those last few requirements. We did add a couple of new merit badges to the list this year at request from our staff down there. Crime Prevention Merit Badge and Mining in Society Merit Badge are both added to the list. So crime prevention will be in our community safety area. It's a great fit there. Mining in Society has been added to our ecology program. We will not be strip mining the camp, but we will be more aware of mining operations, I guess. Couple of questions there. We will talk about STEM in a second here. The schedule of the recommended, that schedule that I just had up on the screen, which had the grid, the old TV guide style grid there, and all the recommendations of each, that's available on our website. It's available in our camp planning guide as well. The STEM merit badges that are coming out, those are typically not first year camper merit badges. We're looking at ones that are usually a second or third year merit badge or NOVA awards for those scouts. And yes, the scouts that are taking Trail to First Class, because it's a half-day program and they do get one merit badge within that half-day program, the other half of the day, they are free to go work on merit badges. So they schedule up things. Usually handicrafts is pretty popular with the first-year camper crowd, and other things like that. We did add last year an inflatable water slide. It's actually very similar to this one here. I think the launch at the end is a little bit shorter on ours, but you can see our actual one here hiding behind me. That was put in place mid-season last year. So if you came to us in the beginning of the season, it had not yet arrived. It was on a slow boat from the Netherlands for like a couple of months, but it finally got set up in the middle of the summer. So if you're with us at the tail end, you already got a chance perhaps to try that out. But if not, it'll be in place this summer. There is an age requirement, 13 and above, to participate on that, but it's a lot of fun. For STEM Week, we did just send that schedule out a short time ago. And these are during week 6 is our traditional STEM week. And we're really excited to add some merit badges to our program that are not offered during the rest of the summer. So during week 6, we run the same total outdoor program that we run all the other sessions, but then there's this added piece. And so that's electronics merit badge, engineering, radio, space exploration, and also 2 NOVA awards, which are the STEM NOVA awards that BSA created. Next big thing and up and away. Next big thing is like product development, and they're going to like create an innovation and pitch the idea and kind of do some design around that. Up and away is more, as it suggests, sort of like aeronautics and that sort of thing related themed award. So these are some pretty cool programs, and they're only going to be offered that week. We have some volunteers who come in to run those for us from our Council STEM committee, and we're really excited about that. One of the great things that goes along with STEM Week is that it's a great opportunity for provisional campers. If you're not familiar with the term, provisional camper is a camper that comes to us and spends the week without their home troop. So they're not coming with their scoutmaster and all their adult leaders that are part of their home troop. What happens is they come to us. We do have provisional camping offered during the rest of the summer as well. In those cases, we will usually, because we usually have a half dozen, kind of a smaller number of provisional campers, we look to one of the existing units that's in camp for that week to host those provisional scouts, a couple of scouts for that week. Some of you have done that. It's often a fantastic opportunity for those your scouts to meet a new scout, that scout to meet your folks. I always like to say we've had several occasions when a provisional scout at the end of the week has, grabbed their parents after the closing camp or the closing ceremonies and been like, I want to join their troop now. Like I want to go, the troop that they spent the week with. So it's a great program. With STEM week, we usually have so many provisional scouts in camp that we actually create provisional troops. So usually it's 2 troops. Last year, we actually had 3 troops, plus a few other scouts scattered around to other units that they had connections with. So it's a fantastic opportunity for scouts that have been with us earlier in the summer to come back for another week and do provisional camping to have access to these STEM programs. Best of all, there is a discounted rate. So for scouts that do a second week with us. So if they do 1 week in camp, they want to come back again for any other week, including STEM week, then the second week is just $300. So that's a really good price. I know Ethan's on the call here. He likes my favorite tagline, which is, you can't feed him for a week for $300. So send him out to us and let us deal with it. And we'll let Sean take care of him for the week. And another really exciting opportunity that we've got in place for this year, also going to be during week 6, we are offering Scuba. This is something that we're doing in partnership with Kraken Scuba down in Colony. This is going to be for youth and adults that are 15 and over. We will take adults if we have room. We'll give first priority to the scouts, but if there's additional room in the group, we can only take a small number of individuals. We will open it up to adults so they can register as well. It's a full week program. So the way this actually will work is that there is a pre-camp online portion that participants will have to complete that the folks from Kraken told us takes about 6 to 8 hours to do the online e-learning portion of the program. And then they will do their scuba experience through camp. So they'll start on Sunday afternoon, evening, they'll do some stuff with the staff there. And then the plan is basically to spend most of the day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off-site at a local pool where they'll do a lot of their training exercises with the staff there. And then on Thursday and Friday, come back on the camp property and do their check dives in Davitt Lake. So they'll still be staying in camp with their troop. When we send them off site, we will send them with food for lunch and things like that to make sure they're taken care of. But it is basically the scuba program will be a full week commitment. There will be blocks of time sort of randomly at different points during the days where they may not be doing anything, but it's not like going to be a consistent block where they can sign up for a merit badge at a particular hour. But it'll take the better part of the full week to complete this. But we're pretty excited about it. The one thing about scuba, as anybody who's ever done this knows, it's not a cheap activity. And so this is unfortunately the one exception to our all-inclusive fee structure for camp. Traditionally, all of our programs are inclusive. That goes for this year as well. Ammunition is included, handicrafts kits are included, all the stuff that the disposables or consumables rather that scouts use are all included as part of the camp fee. The one exception we just can't absorb is the scuba program. So there is going to be a $300 charge for folks who want to sign up for that program to cover the cost of the instructors as well as the equipment. All the equipment will be provided by Kraken for the staff for the scouts that are participating in this program. So it'll be a $300 fee when they register for their program for the merit badge. You should know if you're the one that's going to be handling the registration. When you sign up for it, they'll have to pay for it at that time. Like when you sign up for the merit badge, you don't normally have to pay for anything. You sign up for this one, there will be a charge associated with that. So again, all the equipment is included with that, and we're really excited to see where this goes. We're hoping that this can be the start of a nice partnership with Kraken, and that we can offer this again in the future. But we wanted to run it this year as a pilot during week 6. All right, I mentioned program registration. This has been folks are eager to get online and start picking out their programs. Program registration will launch next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So May 2nd at 7 p.m. The idea is that the Scouts have to be fully paid in order to register. That does include the Webelos crossovers that have until June 15th to submit their payments. They will be able to register for their programs once they are fully paid, whenever that is. If you've got a Webelo crossover who's done paid by May 1st, they're in the opening window here on the 2nd. If they pay some by June 1st, that's when they can sign up. Whenever they're fully paid, they can register. Now, the fact that the Webelos crossovers have that later time period may not be paid up by May 2nd. It's usually not really that big of an issue because the Webelos crossovers are pretty much all taking the same kind of stuff. They're all doing Trail to First Class, handicrafts badges. Those are ones that are not usually in competition with the merit badges that older scouts are signing up for on May 2nd. So there's still plenty of spots available. The older scouts are not filling up Trail to First Class on May 2nd. So you'll still have time slots available for that. Checking the chat box, yes, there will be a merit badge completion day at the end of the summer. We usually do that on the Sunday after week 6, which this year I think is August 13th, if I remember correctly. 13th is the date. There will be some information that the folks from Kraken will be asking. There's going to be forms. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that folks are going to need to fill out for Kraken. I don't have all of the details in front of me at this time for what folks will need in terms of a medical thing, but actually I do have some of the stuff. I know they're going to need folks' height and weight information so that they can size them up for wetsuits. They're going to need their shoe size. They will need some medical information, although I think they were planning on just taking the medical information from our medical forms. So there will be some stuff that basically once folks sign up for the Scuba, we will be reaching out to those individuals and connecting them with Kraken Scuba so that Kraken can give them the links to the e-learning and give them details on whatever information they need for their purposes. And there may be some. Ethan's telling me there's an additional swim test as well, so there may be some additional qualifications there as well for that. Obviously, this is for advanced swimmers. This is not somebody who's struggling to pass their BSA swim test. But we'll communicate. The folks that are going to sign up for that, we'll get them connected with Kraken so they have that information. All right. Just folks that used the online registration system last year may remember that when we do set up Black Pug for registration, we will set up class size limits. The purpose for that is to make sure that, in part to make sure, honestly, that we're balancing the classes. If we didn't do that, we'd run into a situation where if we've got 2 sections of the same merit badge, the 9 o'clock section might have 25 kids in it and the 10:30 section might have 4. And that's not really great for anyone. So we put the class size limits in there to try to distribute that and force that distribution. There is, however, a waiting list option. So if there's a scout that really wants to get into a particular merit badge, but it's been closed out, put them on the waiting list for that, sign them up for something else. And I will go through before camp and we look and see where it is that we can accommodate additional folks in a program. In some cases, it might be equipment driven. There's only X number of kayaks or X number of sailboats, that sort of thing. It doesn't help to put 52 people in a sailing class when there aren't that many boats. Some cases it may be safety related, but for the most part, it's more about just trying to make sure that we have even class distribution and make sure that the classes aren't overwhelmed for the experience of the scouts and the staff members. So if they get added into their site, to their waitlisted class, it'll just drop the other one that was selected as the alternate and they're in. And we'll do that. Usually I wait until very close to the start of the camp week to make those moves because I want to see exactly how many people are going to be stacked up on a waiting list. And so changes get made right up until a few days before camp. So it's usually about 3-4 days before the opening of camp that I sweep through the waiting lists and start moving people in if wherever we can accommodate them. There is also a setup in there that's a troop limit. And that basically means that we don't want one troop, large troop going in, getting in there first and just, kind of grabbing up everything. We do ask that, particularly when you have larger troops, but really any troop. I know the temptation is strong to take all of your first year campers and they are all going to do this at 9 o'clock and this at 10 o'clock and this at 11 o'clock, and they're all going to do Trail to First Class at 2 o'clock. And so we've got already 10 kids from one troop all doing the same schedule, which blocks out a bunch of classes. It's also, honestly, from kind of a classroom management standpoint, the more kids from one troop in a class, the more challenging it tends to be from a classroom management perspective for the staff, as they know each other really well, which can be great, and it can be counterproductive if they are getting on each other and things like that. In a situation like that, the simple solution is split the group in half. Half of them take TTFC in the morning, half of them take TTFC in the afternoon, and then redistribute the merit badges accordingly. Just if we could work on that, that would be great. And there are these troop limits in place to kind of enforce that so that one troop can't lock out a whole class. So you may see that there are spaces open in a class, but that you can't put any more in if you've already put a bunch in there. But they're, that's in there. So question about, is there a guide on the merit badge sign-up process? Is it something the families do through Blackpug or that the troop leader does? In most cases, it's the troop leader. It's the person who has access to the account who's doing the payment that is going to do the online registrations. Some of you have found the parent portal process and are using that. That's fine. That's up to you. If you want to use the parent portal and give the individual parents the ability to log in and manage the registrations, you can do that. Personal preference, I kind of like it when one unit leader does that, because you're hearing the messages that I've just shared and the parents are not. So parents will log in and they may sign up their first year camper for, they hear that Eagle required badges are important. So they sign up their first year camper for Envisi and, first aid and life saving. And you have to go back and be like, okay, we're not going to do that this year. That's not going to be the most successful path. So, so you do have the parent portal if you'd like to use it. If not, the folks, one person can handle the registration. There's a suggestion in there: hand out the schedules at your meeting, let the kids all circle what they want to do, collect it back up and put it in. That's a great idea. But parents can do it. To the other point, if you go onto our website, go across the top, there's a link that says registration. That's our registration page that has all the information about signing up for camp and stuff like that. There is a video on that page that walks you through the Blackpug process and shows you how to register for merit badges. So that would be a great place to go check that out and see how the process works. It's actually pretty user intuitive. Once you get into the system, you basically you're just clicking on the classes that you want them to sign up for. Okay, so go into the roster, same place that you're doing the online payments, click the red button under a scout's name that says update information, and you go and select the classes for them at the different times. So like I said, pretty user-friendly to do that. For the record keeping, last year we did this for the first time. It worked pretty well. We had a few wrinkles just in terms of one aspect of it, but we're going to be recording all the merit badges in Blackpug again. We do not use the blue cards, the traditional paper blue cards. They'll all be recorded in Blackpug. And what that means is, if you were at camp last year and you go log back into your troops account, you still have all the information on what your scouts completed right there in your account. It's all there for you to access. You can also export it from Blackpug into whatever online management system you're using for your record keeping, which for most units is Scoutbook. Some units use Troopmaster or something else, but you can export directly from the Blackpug registration system into Scoutbook. It should work. It did work for a few weeks for last year. It didn't. We had some wrinkles at the end of the summer. They made some changes to on the back end in National, but we also have the ability. I can export the entire camp's records into Blackpug without you having to do anything with it. I can send it all. For the most part, that worked. If it didn't work, like I said, there were a couple of weeks at the end of the season where there was some stuff happening. There were some gremlins in the back end of National's system, but where it didn't work is TTFC requirements don't go through. And any of the awards don't go through. It's only the merit badges that go that way. That's a national policy. That's not anything that I can change. And the other thing is the BSA member IDs need to be accurate for those scouts' names in the record system. So when you're registering your scouts, please don't put in fake numbers just to fill a space so that you can move on or anything like that. That BSA membership ID, if it is not matching that scout, when we try to export that information into Scoutbook, it won't go. It won't connect. So that's a key thing that you can do to set up at the start of the season. So once we've done this, like, all the records are there. You have them at the end of the week. They're all entered in there. You can either export your records to Scoutbook, or if you like the traditional printed blue cards, you can print them out from Blackpug. There's a box I'll show you where I won't show tonight, but we'll talk about it at summer camp. There's a box in there that you can click on, and you can export all your data right onto paper, and you can print them off just like blue cards if you prefer to go that way as well. Either way, you retain permanent access to those records. So it's great. No more lost blue cards, right? No blue card got laundered through the laundry. All right. Look at this good-looking guy here. All right, we're going to talk about our food service. Cook Sean Dibble returns. Sean, do you want to talk about this, or you want me to?
Yeah, I can take a crack at it.
Go for it.
So this year, we're going to try yet again another Google form for the allergies and specialty diets. As you see on the screen right there, there is a QR code. I believe also Brian has set up a link for this, which will go directly to the food@rsrbsa.org. The QR code we're going to put on the people who do the health checks. We'll have it with them, and also a couple posted at the dining hall and the admin office in case you do need to add one, or you get somebody who comes in late on a Sunday. Preferably, I would like to have this in my email at least 2 weeks ahead of time. I understand if it can't be done 2 weeks, but that's what I would like. Family barbecue, we're going to do that again this year. I had a lot of fun with it last year. Brian, we're still doing the online pre-purchase.
Yep, it's already set up. So, obviously most people wait till the day before, but it is online. That's on the council website. So folks can go in and purchase their barbecue tickets ahead of time. And they still do need to check in at the office and get their wristband and sign in, but it does make the process move smoother and faster. Last year was the first year we did it that way, and it worked out great because they've already purchased the tickets online. So no cash transactions or anything. Anything else you wanted to say about food services, Sean?
We are going to try and go to all reusable stuff this year. We got a donation of like school cafeteria trays, so I would like to try and use them if possible, and then save the. We are going to still do takeout containers for the barbecue. I think that'd be about it.
Okay. Sean does a great job handling these allergies and special medical needs for food. So, but information is key. So Google Forms, fantastic. It makes it real simple to record any issues that folks have. So, as he said, hit the QR code there. If you know now, it's the link is posted on our website. We have a food page on our website, so you can go right there, and the information is there as well. And we got some nice, praise in the chat box there for Sean and his handling of the allergies. So we thank him for that. And we're really happy to have him back with us this year. All right. Wanted to just put in a note about inclusive scouting as well. This is something that the BSA nationally has been doing a much better job with the last couple of years here, and just wanted to remind folks what the policies are from national with regard to transgender and non-binary scouts. That basically transgender youth may tent with another scout of their gender identity, but in order for that to happen, there needs to be prior written permission from the parents of both youth that are going to be staying in that tent or facility. The requirement, that the youth protection requirement that says that two campers cannot tent together if they are more than 2 years apart, that applies for all youth, including in the transgender non-binary categories. So that rule is still in place. Obviously, we're not really handling tent assignments within your campsites. So this is a policy I just want to make folks aware of, because this is something that needs to be managed on the unit level. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you need help, by all means, please reach out. We'll be happy to help you with these. These are any other questions you might have, but just wanted to make you aware of what the national policies are for when you're preparing to come to camp this year. And so we have some resources up here, places to turn to. Our planning guide, there's lots of stuff in there. If you haven't seen it yet, please go to our website, and there's a copy of the planning guide there that has answers to hopefully every question that you might have. But you can also reach out to me. Our camp director at rsrbsa.org is my email address. Josh's email for program is programdirector@rsrbsa.org. We use our Facebook page, our Instagram page. We've been posting more stuff onto YouTube. This video will be put up onto YouTube as well once we're done with it. We also have on the website, there's a resources page. If you click that link and go down there, you should find lots of the different forms you might need. For example, most of the Scoutmasters packet that you get on Sunday is up on there, so that if you wanted to fill out duty rosters ahead of time or things like that, it's all there. You can print them out. It's the same content that you get on Sunday when you check in, but it's already available for you on the website, along with program schedules, links to the allergy form, anything we can think of as it comes along, we're throwing it up on that resources page. So good place to check out to get the information needed for a successful camp operation. So that's our formal program that we have for you tonight, the information. So I wanted to turn it over to you and any questions that anybody might have about anything that we did or did not discuss tonight. I feel like I'm in class. Any questions? Crickets, nothing, silence.
I have a question.
Go for it.
So is there going to be a work day on a weekend in June?
We tried something different with that last year, where rather than having like a designated beaver day, we wanted to provide some flexibility because a beaver day model was tricky for Joel and the ranger staff and camp leadership, because we'd have a lot of kids coming in and the projects didn't necessarily match the skill set of the youth that were coming in, and trying to keep them busy and providing activities wasn't always the easiest. So what we prefer to do is, there's kind of two parts to answering your question here, Stu. Part of it is that rather than having one designated beaver day, if units are interested in helping out, we definitely need the help. We definitely want to encourage that. But trying to do it with lots of troops at the same time is tough. If you're coming out to camp or you're willing to come out to camp on a given day, if you communicate that with Joel, he can arrange a project for your unit while you're there. And if you've got adults that have any particular skills to support the needs of camp, that's a great way to communicate that information to him. So if like you've got, a carpenter, or, you do a lot of the kind of stuff for us, they can work that stuff out with Joel. We will be having our Helderberg weekends. We have our staff weekend. So those are some opportunities where some folks that Joel knows are useful for particular trades that he might have a project associated with. He may call up and say, hey, can you come out this particular weekend? We're going to be working on this type of project. And if anybody ever looks at the signature file in my email, not when I'm sending it out through Blackpug, but if I send you an email from my personal account, you'll see there's a link in there. We are created a database where if folks would like to put their name and information in there, if you happen to have particular skills or trades, either program-wise or helping camp in terms of the facilities, you put that in there, and it's a database that Joel and I have access to, so that if we've got a project coming up and we need carpenters, or we need a plumber, or we need something like that, we can go to that and pull that information. So we're trying to make it a little bit more flexible, Stu. So instead of one designated beaver day, it's opportunities for units to help out throughout the season whenever it works for them, and they can create a project with Joel. Question in the chat about, I'll just make sure if there's not one ahead of that. Question about medication administration. We have, basically when scouts check in on Sunday, everyone goes through a medical recheck with our health officers, and medication is collected from the youth at that time. If there's things that youth need to have on their person because it's an emergency kind of thing, like for example, an inhaler or a, for bee stings, I'm drawing a blank here on the EpiPen, for an EpiPen or an inhaler, they can keep those on them. We want them to keep those on them so that they can use them in an emergency. Other medications get turned over to the health officer. We do have refrigerated storage facilities as well. So if medications need to be refrigerated, they're going to go in there. They're going to be locked up in the health office when they're not being distributed. The medical officer will then bring those medications to the meals. And that's when most of our scouts get their meds, is usually it's at mealtime, so they can go see the medical officer during the meal and take their meds. We do know that some scouts require a different schedule. Maybe they need it first thing in the morning, they need it before they go to bed, whatever. They will indicate that with the health officer during check-in, and they'll make an arrangement, and either they'll work with the health officer. The health officer is either going to tell them to come down to the health office to get their med at a particular time, or evening meds. Usually they go out and do a run and hit all the campsites that have scouts that require an evening medication. They'll take care of it that way. So that's our medication distribution system there. A question about what kind of cool swag we're going to have in the trading post. It's not our centennial, so we don't have the big fancy. We do have more. We do still have some more of those centennial CSP sets available in the trading post, but we won't be doing anything quite that big. But we will have good stuff in the trading post, and that will include our Thunderbird Council strip for the season, which this year will be Scoutcraft. So you guys are the first to hear that. I haven't shared that with anybody. So. And we're still in the design phase on that one. I've sent out my request to the patch company. We'll see how that comes back. So we will have a Scoutcraft CSP for this year. And yes, Ethan, we will have nice hats as well. So Ethan has been very excited for the red and black color gear this year. So other questions? Is there a theme? We don't do a theme for the full camp. That's, typically the theme for a full camp is more of a Cub Scout program. So I should mention here, we're not talking about those programs here tonight, but just so you're aware, and if you're affiliated with units that would be interested in this, we are hosting day camp the 3rd week of July, Monday through Friday, and we're hosting 2 sessions of Cub Scout resident camp during the 4th week of July. We've overlapped these 2 programs during the time that many of the scout troops have people going to Jamboree and such, but we have a for the resident camp, we're running Sunday to Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday afternoon to Saturday morning. The theme for resident camp is going to be, for Cub Scout resident camp, is going to be a jungle safari. The theme for Cub Scout day camp is dinosaurs. We don't do a full week theme for the Scouts BSA camp. We will oftentimes do a theme for our camp-wide game, and I know Josh is working on that, but I don't think we are ready for an announcement on that particular idea. But we'll get that information out to you when it becomes available.